Hey ladies and gentlemen, what's up? Welcome back. This is HD and it's time for game 2 between oGs SuperNova and of course I am Losira. This is game 2 from the IPL4 online qualifiers, and I've been bringing you guys these games just to help promote IPL4 at the Cosmopolitan. And once again, I'll just bring it up. Make sure to get your tickets if you guys can. It is only a couple days away, so it's kind of getting it too close, I guess. To get tickets and get a hotel and everything. But if you guys can't come, then make sure to tune in live. The stream will be at twitch.tv/IGN Pro League or justin.tv/IGN Pro League. Alternatively, I'm sure you guys can find it on Team Liquid or even on IGN.com. And tune in, man. It's going to be really exciting. It starts on Friday at 10 a.m. Now, once again, this is the qualifiers for that big tournament, and on the left-hand side, we do have oGs SuperNova. He is the red Terran player, and the map is Tal'Darim Altar, and across Tal'Darim, we have I am Losira. Both these guys, as I said before in the first game, formerly Code S players, or at least having been in Code S at one point in their careers. SuperNova actually right now currently competing in Code S, which says a lot about the skill level. I mean, to stay in Code S is pretty damn hard. There's always these matches that you have the ability to be knocked out if you don't keep your level of play at the tip-top shape that it should be. So very difficult to stay at that top level. Now we'll have to see what happens here. Losira in the last game, a little disappointing, I feel like. He didn't play, I don't think, his A game. He really allowed himself to get into this pitfall that a lot of Zergs really find themselves in sometimes, which is when you let the Terran players start to contain you and more forces start to stream in, it just gets increasingly difficult to be able to really defend that. And at some point, it just really breaks your back. It's like that football saying, pound the rock. Keep pounding the rock, and eventually, you know, the defense is going to crumble, and that's what kind of happened in the last game. Now, we do have SuperNova going for a command center first, using the CC with the supply depot to fully wall off, so there will be no drone scout. But you don't really need to scout at this. As soon as you come to the front door with the drone, you're going to see the command center, and you're going to know exactly what's going on. So SuperNova is going to go for the quick CC here, going to try to get a lot of economy going off to start off. And Losira has opened up with a hatchery at the natural, followed up with a gas and pool. So pretty common openings from both the players right now, and we'll have to see where things start to really diverge. Right now, you could just, you know, look at this game from like a textbook point of view and say, okay, both these players opening up pretty macro. The only real interesting thing, I suppose, would be that command center first opening, and the drone was able to scout it out. So that is now out of the bag. And we do have this SCV that ran inside the base just trying to get a full scout off, and it's now going to park itself at the natural expansion just to see what's going on. And oh! There is a Roach Warren coming up from Losira. Losira trying to get a hidden Roach Warren behind the natural right now, or behind the main right now, excuse me. And the SCV is going to run over there to find it. No, it will not. It is now just chilling at the natural, and this is a mistake by SuperNova. He needs to get that SCV inside the main to see that Roach Warren. And the reason why I'm so excited right now is because this could potentially be that 5 Roach Rush that a lot of Zerg players use, maybe even a 7 Roach Rush, which is so deadly. But oh, Losira could lose his Overlord, and if he loses the Overlord, he won't be able to make the roaches he needs to make, and the Overlord is going to go down. That's a shame, because SuperNova actually did not see that Roach Warren. And now look at this, he can only make 3 roaches. He has the 2 larvae, the 3 larvae actually, to make 3 more roaches. He's got enough gas to maybe even make 4 when he gets to 75, but unfortunately for him, he didn't have enough capacity. He just now cleared his supply capacity, and it looks like the Roach little ploy here is not going to pay off. It still could, actually. Remember, guys, it was not detected. SuperNova actually going right into a starport here with reactored Hellions on the way as well. And Hellions are not going to be very good against Roaches, but the 3 Roaches are beginning to make their way across the map. They will cross paths with that scouting SCV, and so now the Terran player definitely knows what is going on. He's going to build up another bunker, get his supply SCVs at the front door to hold position, now rallying all the troops at the front, but thankfully for him, like I said before, he did kill off that Overlord, and so Losira is only going to have 3 Roaches here. And think how much more devastating this attack would be if there were 5. In fact, Losira now using his 3, trying to run behind the natural into the main. He's been able to do so. Nice micro by Losira, just trying to buy time on that Roach to keep it alive as long as possible. And able to kill off 8 workers so far. Wow, those roaches have really paid off for himself. So now you can really see how effective it would have been had he had 5 instead of 3. Now, the nice thing as well is if he can get these roaches over to the bottom left, he can also scout off that starport to see that there are cloaked banshees on the way. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like he will. Good job by SuperNova to really corral the roaches away from the starport. And so that is going to remain undetected. And that's a bit of a shame, because anytime you attack, there's 2 things about an attack that make an attack good. A, you can do damage, and B, you can scout. Losira did not take advantage of the B option there, and now as a result, he could pay a heavy price once that Banshee comes out to play. Remember, Banshees are extremely effective against a Zerg player who just opened up roaches. He's not going to have that much anti-air defense at all. And here comes that Banshee. It's coming in right now. It is going to be spotted by the creep and the rest of the Zerg units. Thankfully, Losira has double queens. And I think that was a bit of a mistake by SuperNova to bring the Banshee in so quickly before Cloak was ready to go. Now his ace card is kind of shown. It's like he's playing poker and he just showed one of his cards away to his opponent. Not a good idea at all. And now I would imagine we're going to have some Spore Crawlers coming up at least. Yeah, there's one. And there's a Spire on the way over on the right as well. So there's going to be plenty of anti-air coming out, as well as air units themselves. Meanwhile, SuperNova taking the liberty to go ahead and expand out on the bottom left-hand corner. He knows that he has map control with his Banshee. And while he's got that map control, should definitely take advantage of that. Now switching up his starport and factory, he's going to transition right back down into standard game with bio units and stim pack, and of course tanks and medevacs. Also taking the liberty to destroy the creep tumors, which is always a good idea. You know, keeping the Zerg at bay, not allowing him to scout or see anything. That Spire is halfway done, though, so eventually those Banshees are going to have to run away because those mutas will be in play. The Spore Crawler in a fantastic position to push away those Banshees as well. So SuperNova's Banshee cloak play here is not going to pay off at all, I don't think. And that's a heavy investment once again. Like the last game, if you ever go for Cloak Banshees, you want to do a lot of damage. Last game he was able to kill off some drones. This game, unfortunately, has not been the case. He's the one who's lost 12 workers, and he has not been able to kill a single one so far. So not good at all. And we shall see what happens here as the game continues to go on. SuperNova, of course, like I said before, trying to secure that third command center down in the bottom left-hand corner. We do have 8 Mutalisks on the way by Losira, and once those Mutas come into play, it's going to give the Zerg players such a huge amount of breathing room. He's going to be able to ward away the Banshees. He may even be able to pick off this planetary fortress. Yes, it is going to be a planetary fortress, although there's a turret on the way there as well. And at the very least, the Zerg player can, of course, harass and attack into the Terran base and put the Terran on the back foot. SuperNova is rushing the double NG bay, though, so he's going to have quite a few upgrades. Losira in the upgrade department only getting ground armor, it looks like. And here comes those mutas trying to run it into natural, but there's a missile turret there, very well placed. Good timing on the missile turrets as well by SuperNova. I don't know if you guys noticed, but that one might be a little bit too late, as that missile turret will be killed off. I don't know if you guys noticed, but SuperNova got those turrets at the nick of time based on when he saw that Spire with his Banshees. So good work right there. And now the mutas will fly away, as there's just too much missile turret coverage and too many Marines inside the base. So good job right there by the Terran player, and it's a very close game now, getting down to the wire as we approach the end of the mid game and eventually a transition into the late game. A secondary turret coming up, and SuperNova is going to get a third turret as well. I think those 2 turrets in conjunction with the Mule and SCV should be enough to ward away these mutas. I mean, yes, Losira could try to kill off the turrets, but he would lose a lot of mutas as a result, and that's just not worth it. So he has to fall back. Meanwhile, some Zerglings running in. They found a way to run in through the natural. There was not completely walled off, and now the Zerglings are inside the main. Big blunder by SuperNova, and these Zerglings are going to go to town inside the mineral fields. But meanwhile, it looks like the Hellion's going to go to town on the drones. What are these drones doing? I don't even know. And these Marines were able to run back and stim and be able to destroy the Zergling threat. And it looks like these mutas are going to be able to protect the drones as well. Worker kill tab now. Let's get an update on that. 9 to 14. So it looks like those Hellions were able to even up the number just a little bit. And now we have a big attack by SuperNova, who is running everything to the Zerg front door, really focused on killing off as many of the creep tumors as he possibly can. Another, like I said before, really good idea, because with the creep being receded so far, he can actually set up shop right here on this critical ledge between the Terran and Zerg. and really take dominance with Xel'Naga tower control as well. Getting Siege Tanks up there is such a prime spot to be at, and that can really pay huge dividends for SuperNova. Meanwhile, we do have Baneling upgrade on the way, the Baneling speed, as well as Burrow. On this map, Brood Banelings can be very effective too, so keep your eye out for that in case SuperNova, or in case Losira decides to go for some Brood Baneling action. We do have Zerglings beginning to mobilize around the map, so very likely possibility here that we could get some Brood Banelings near the Xel'Naga towers. A Banshee coming into the Zerg fourth here, and gonna be able to pick off quite a few drones, it looks like, because all the Mutas are being distracted by a Banshee to the north. Big mistake right here by Losira, and the Spore Crawler is gonna be able to come up, but not before that Banshee is able to get a ton of worker kills. Oh my god, that Banshee is gonna be able to get 13. And finally, the Mutaflock comes back to deal with that. And so the worker kill tab now really looking actually in favor now of the Terran player. Good job by SuperNova. It's an extremely close game. We have Brood Banelings coming in though, but the Banelings burrowed in sight of the Siege Tank and Marines. SuperNova caught a huge lucky break right there, just moving out as soon as he saw the Banelings burrowing, and now he's going to play this very cautiously as he mobilizes his army to that critical ledge that I was talking about, dropping comsats wherever he goes. And he is going to actually go over here and take out the Zerglings towards the southern tower as well. So good job by SuperNova, really just dotting his I's, crossing his T's, making sure he doesn't make any mistake this game at all, which is of course a very smart way to play StarCraft 2. Income tab right now, 69 under 80. Of course, the Terran player does have an edge, better edge than you might think because of meals, obviously. Cloak Banshee just kind of chilling up to the north right there. And we might have a clash of titans here. That Mutaflock getting decently large, but not large enough, I don't think, to deal with this many Marines. That is quite a few Marines on the field. In fact, to get a head count on the Marines, 51 Marines right now on the map. Of course, there are 39 Banelings as well, and that will be able to destroy most of those Marines, depending, of course, on the micro. There is a medevac drop going around the right. All the Mutas are currently on target, hunting that medevac down. I don't see that medevac making out of there alive. Meanwhile, it looks like there is going to be a counterattack of Zerglings and Banelings. The medevac did go down, by the way, guys, and it looks like this command center that is coming up is probably going to have to be canceled because there's so many Zerglings and Banelings there. And here we go. Losira, is he going to sacrifice his Banelings to kill off the command center? No, he's not. But he is going to force the cancel, and now burrowing the Banelings, but a Comsat to the north. Oh my god, just catching the Banelings at the very edge of the Comsat vision. That was so lucky for SuperNova, and right now a couple of Banelings, a lot of Banelings trying to run up the ramp, but they were unable to. Actually now burrowing at the choke of the ramp. Losira getting really cute in this game, guys, trying to use Brood Banelings to give himself a significant edge. There is a Banshee coming around the back of the main. There's so much action in this game. SuperNova trying to rack up the drone kill count has now gone up to 24, and the number continues to skyrocket. Meanwhile, a huge flock of Mutas, after killing off the medevac to the southeast, coming into the Terra Natural, burning the missile turret up, but unable to really do that much more damage. And oh, there's a Brood Baneling! There's a Brood Baneling! There's more Brood Banelings still at the ramp, but it looks like he's not going to choose to detonate, or maybe Losira was not paying attention. Don't forget there's Brood Banelings back here as well that could attack the command center once it comes up at that new location. But here we go, man. This is getting very, very tense. That flock of Mutas trying to run in and do a ton of damage once again. There are no Marines back here, and I think I see what Losira's trying to do. He's trying to bait all the Marines to run back home and run across the Brood Banelings and detonate them. And will he be able to get that lucky burrow? Will he be able to bait the Marines or not? The Mutalisks doing a good amount of damage as they stand. They have no upgrades actually, but here comes the Marines, and oh, the Brood Baneling goes off. Beautiful play by SuperNova. That was like a fairy tale, man. That was like the play of dreams. And there is a missile turret with the sensor tower able to see the Banelings, so that is not going to be able to get a good detonation. But here comes Losira running in with his Mutas and Banelings. This is such a fantastic position for SuperNova, though. He's got so many tanks and Marines on the high ground at that choke point. This is why I say it's a critical location for Terran to really hold. And SuperNova held that off well. Let's get a quick update on the upgrade situation. 2-2 with 3 weapons on the way for the Terran player. 1-0 with 2 armor, ground armor that is, on the way for the Zerg. And his current Zerg upgrade situation is 1-2, so it's a pretty close game in terms of upgrade. Maybe SuperNova just holding a slight edge in that regard. We do have another attack here coming out as SuperNova feeling really confident in the last attack, able to deflect that huge roll-in of Banelings, and now thinking that he can make an attack happen, but he's got to be really, really careful here, man. His forces are somewhat spread out just a little bit, and you know what? He could quickly find himself getting flanked because not only can he be attacked from the Zerg third, but also from the Zerg natural here. There's creep all over the place. Meanwhile, all these spinners running in. Losira just going to do a straight counter. He's going to try to camp the production facilities or at least pick off the reactor cores, thereby limiting the production of the Terran player. That is risky though, because now SuperNova has a decision. Does SuperNova defend, run all of his Marines back, or does he attack knowing that all the mutas are at his base? And it looks like SuperNova's just hesitating. He's not going with option A or B, and rather just kind of chilling right now at the front of the Zerg base. This is such a close game. Losira expanding once again. It looks like the burrowed Banelings did go off. Oh wow, they did go off at the behind the mineral line. Well done. And here comes Losira running in with everything. All the Banelings and the Marines. This is a huge battle, and it looks like Losira is not going to be able to kill off everything. Nice try by Losira, but the micro from SuperNova is just too good, and he was able to spread his Marines out, mitigate the damage by running behind his tanks. What a fantastic job by him. And now look at this, he might even be able to kill off this hatchery with the Marines he's got left standing. And I think he will be able to get off this hatchery. Yes, he will. Those mutas are just trying to buy time, but it's not going to be enough, and the hatch goes up in a huge spurt of blood. Now these Marines, all they have to do is just pull back, along with the medevacs, just stay alive and regroup. That's all SuperNova's got to do. He's got the edge right now. Those mutas are giving chase, so trying to pick off any straggling units, but too many Marines on the ground. And what are these three tanks doing, man? They are walking across no man's land, unsieged, no backup, on the creep, and immediately the Marines come to rejoin them. But hey, the Zerg is ready there to pounce, and Losira doing a good job here of trying to get the edge back in this game. It looks like he was able to pick off 2 tanks in that exchange. Didn't lose too many Mutalisks that I saw either, so a decent job by him. And now SuperNova really got to go back home and you know, just be happy with what he's got. Pull back. Oh, bro, Banelings! Oh, wow. Surprise, surprise. And all of a sudden, I feel like the edge that SuperNova had after he killed off that hatchery might have been thrown away a little bit, if not all of it, because he lost some tanks by being a little bit too cavalier with them, and he just lost some Marines. Even though he's been doing a good job of comsatting and catching the burrowed Banelings, that last one was just in no man's land, and that was a beautiful detonation right there. Creep spread right now, not too shabby for the Zerg player. I've definitely seen better creep spread, but who can blame him? He's been multitasked a lot, and a lot of these attacks have destroyed a ton of his tumors as well. So all things considered, not bad creep spread. SuperNova now dropping down to the inside 5 o'clock position, but the Mutalisks and the Zerglings already rapidly there, ready to engage, and it looks like the deflection of the drop was successful. Meanwhile, it looks like SuperNova really itching to make an attack here against Losira. Once again, he's mobilized a large amount of his troops in the middle of the map on Town Rim, but doesn't really have, I don't think, an opportunity to make a strike. He's got to kill off all these tumors first. There's a ton of tumors, really, just not a lot of surface area. So it's going to take him some time to really recede that creep away. There is a lot of Zerglings and Mutas here down to the south, and we might have another engagement here at the southern Zelnaga Tower. All the tanks sieging up, and immediately Losira pulls back, does not want to allow his Zerglings to get shelled by those tanks, and he's trying to pull a trap once again with the burrowed Banelings, but those Marines are a little bit smarter than the last one. SuperNova's like, nah, you're not going to catch me this time. Drops the comsat, and he will be able to reveal that. But, oh no, there's a big counterattack. Oh my god, as SuperNova was down to the south, Losira said, you know what, you can toy down there and twiddle your thumbs. I'm going to twiddle your thumbs. I'm going to go and counterattack into the heart of your base, and there's only 2 Thors in a bunker here to defend, and those Banelings are going to crash inside. They're going to kill everything, and meanwhile, the Muta's going to the left. Beautiful play by SuperNova, who's going to be able to kill off, it looks like, a ton of SCVs, force the entire retreat of the Terran army, and maybe even kill off this orbital command as well. No, he will not. A timely stem right there by SuperNova to keep that orbital alive, and I think that was a good idea. But overall, a really good attack by the Zerg player. That's one of those plays that really goes down as a great decision making by the General Losira. To realize that the entire army was just down to the south. He was toying around with some road banelings, but then he said, you know what? If everything's down south, why don't I just run everything into your base? And he did it, and it was successful. And now look at his army. He just made like 50 banelings, and he's got 18 more, 19 more on the way. He's about to have 100 banelings on the field. This is insanity. This is insanity. So this is going to be pretty crazy, and I think that last blunder by SuperNova, just getting a little too overextended down to the south, is going to cost him majorly. So I don't know right now. SuperNova really needs to think about maybe lifting off one of his bases, maybe the one right here in the main, and going down to the south and expanding, getting another base up and running. He needs to max out his army again before he can even think about engaging. He is dropping, which is not a bad idea, but he knows that the flock of mutas is on the map, and look at that, all those banelings just revealed themselves as well. So now that drop might have done more harm than good, because now he's like, oh crap, I gotta fight against all those banelings. It's like a waterfall of banelings now going down to the south, and it looks like SuperNova is pretty brave right now. Might be thinking about making a shop here, or setting up some type of fortress at the northern tower, but no, he's going to pull back. He knows there's a lot of banelings on the map, and oh, look at this! There was a drop that actually killed off the hatchery to the south at the inside 5 o'clock position. I'm sorry I didn't catch that, guys, but it looks like a hatchery was killed off. 41 drones killed for the Terran, 58 SCVs killed for the Zerg. Pretty close numbers here. I do feel like Losira's making a mistake by just sitting back and not fighting, though. He's allowed the Terran player to kind of get back into it and remax his army. So that is, I think, a mistake. I'm not too sure why he's doing that, but at the very least, the Zerg player does have a lot of banked up minerals and gas, whereas the Terran does not have that much banked up, nearly that much banked up. And oh, those Marines are definitely going to go down. I don't even know why you would spend your APM to try to save them, because they're all definitely going to die. But just trying to be cute right there. And yeah, you know, at the end of the day, the thing here is the Zerg player is going to have a ton of banked resources, and he should be banking a lot of larva too. Oh, look at this. We've got George and Joe. They're going to run into here and try to do a little bit of good here, but I don't really think that's going to be able to do much at all. All those banelings are coming back home to defend against those 2 Marines, and no, it looks like the drones are going to do the dirty work. And meanwhile, a huge muta fight here, as the Mutalisks have found themselves in a spot to do some damage. It looks like they're going to be able to take a couple shots on this planetary fortress. Will the SCVs be able to repair it in time? It looks like SuperNova's trying to hold on here with all these SCVs, and the reinforcements have come back home, and SuperNova will make a critical hold at one of his key expansions, which he has to keep alive. Otherwise, he's out of this game. He's already down on bases as it is. We can see him trying to research the ground armor, the building armor, excuse me, and high-sec auto tracking. So pretty soon, those mutas, which really don't have a weapons upgrade yet, they're just getting level 1 right now, are going to have a much harder time trying to kill off, snipe off any critical buildings. So that's a nice upgrade to get in the very late game scenario. You don't really see situations where it's necessary, but this is a time when I think that is a good investment. But like I said before, SuperNova's got to make something happen. I think he's got to get another expansion if he's gonna have a chance to win this game. He's actually maxed out his army once again. That's incredible to be able to have his army remaxed, but look at all the larvae he's going to be facing up against that Losira is now starting to store up, and he's got 3,000 gas, 1,500 minerals as well. Another marine drop here. Some spine crawlers are easily taken out before they can even come on the field, and here comes these mutas once again, coming back into the 9 o'clock position, trying to take out this planetary fortress. Building armor not quite complete yet, but the entire Terran army is there, ready to defend that location with their lives. SuperNova knows that he's got to make a hold there no matter what, and once again now trying to mobilize his entire army into the center of Town Run. This could be it. Strap yourselves in. It could be a huge fireworks show here. July the 4th possibly is about to be upon us, with all the banelings ready to detonate into a green show for us, and it looks like there is another drop into the Zerg main, excuse me, and these Marines are going to go for the baneling nest. That could be a critical blow to the Zerg if he loses this baneling nest here. Transfuse at the very last second from the Queen, though, keeping that Baneling Nest alive. That was a beautiful transfuse, and it looks like SuperNova has set up a nice shop in the middle of the map. Despite not being able to kill off that Baneling Nest, he's still all gung-ho here. All of his tanks and marines ready to go. I don't think that the Zerg can really slam all his Banelings into that location, not with the tanks being able to absorb all the shots in the front. So yeah, right now Losira's got to figure out how he's going to attack that location. Certainly, slamming his Banelings in are not going to be the win. We do have another medevac drop here down to the bottom right-hand corner, and here we go. It looks like he's just going to send all of his Banelings in. Nice fungal growths, but the Banelings all are going to die. And wow, what a toss away right there. But look at that. The entire time, the Mutalisks were not even fighting, so that was such a one-sided battle. Consider how much difference that would have been if the Mutas had been in there fighting, but I guess he just didn't want to send his Mutas in. There's just so many Marines. Will he be able to save his hatchery down here again? Yes, he will. Those Mutas are just so large in number. Now, that's the nice thing. He's kept all of his Mutas alive. He didn't even use them to fight. So now, when he comes in, he's going to have a ton of Mutas. Keep in mind, also, we have Adrenal Glands on the way. I'm surprised Adrenal Glands were not finished sooner. And as soon as those finish upgrading, it's going to be a very similar situation like last game, where the Zerglings are just going to be able to eat away everything they attack. Their attack speed just, it's almost like doubles once Adrenal Gland finishes. And here we go, the Zerglings coming off the ground, able to surround all the mech and be able to pick off the tanks and the Thors quite easily, as the Mutas give chase as well. And oh no, this is disastrous for the Terran player. He's lost everything and all hope, retreating all the way back home. That last attack was unsuccessful, unable to deliver that crushing blow that he so desperately needed, and now being funneled all the way back home to his main. Fungal growth goes down as well. I'm going to bring down the heads-up display for your guys' viewing pleasure, and it looks like we have Burrow Banelings coming inside as well. That is pretty much going to be all she wrote. What a nasty turn of events for SuperNova. And that is actually going to drive this game to a final third game. We're just waiting for the GG here. And there it is. oGs SuperNova calls out GG. He knows he's lost, but what a fantastic game that was. I'm so juiced up right now. And I don't want to hold up the next game for much longer. I think I'm just going to jump right to it with a quick HD is signing out. And hopefully you guys stay tuned for that one. Game 3 is coming up next. And yeah, HD is signing out. Let's see what happens.